Greetings, gamers, and welcome to Ramble number 6. Let me just move up the microphone a little bit. Perfect. So I haven't done a ramble since, oh boy, was it May? Did I write it down somewhere? I didn't write it down. It was so bad. And it was the ramble with Not Hard, where we talked about the collection log completion. And that was a very popular ramble, by the way. I think even Sebe watched it, which is pretty cool. And we went over a lot of the hours in terms of completing the collection log for an Ironman. And yeah, I'm very far from that, that's for sure. But so if you don't know me, by the way, my name is Lone Gym Rat. It's not actually my real name, but I'm sure you know that. And I'm an Ironman, a maxed Ironman. And after maxing, I tried to find something to do. And I decided that the best thing to do would be to go for the collection log because I think it's a very interesting concept. And number go up is good. Obviously, that's why we play this game. And also, I find the collection log is very balanced in terms of like progressing your account. There's so many different activities you can do. And it revolves a lot around clues, which I really like clues. It also revolves around PVMing, pet hunting, skilling, so all that together is really great, and that's why I really love the collection log for that reason. Initially I wanted to become a pet hunter like most people do, and then I realized that pet hunting is included in collection log. It's like a small subset of the collection log, so I might as well go for the collection log. And at first I was dreading some of the grinds like Tight Farm and Chow Brewing, Castle Wars, but eventually I started enjoying those grinds as I moved forward in them. And it was fun to see myself actually enjoying some grinds that I thought I would despise with my life. Like Tight Farm, I finished it and I kind of felt sad afterwards. But yeah, so I do make YouTube videos in terms of progressing and tracking my progress for the collection log. And I think currently episode 23 is out, and episode 24 should be out tomorrow morning, assuming I upload this video today, which I should. And episode 25 is already pre-uploaded as well. And every Saturday I upload one video and I track the progress. Now my videos are incredibly outdated. The reason for that is because back in January I started recording clips and I was in a very depressive state in terms of like my IRL with the job I was working and other complications. So I just really didn't feel like making any videos. I was just doing some random activities in game, and I was still recording clips, which thankfully I did, because that was like 4 months of content that I had essentially banked in quotations, which is awesome. And I'll go over that later actually, which is, I have to make a note actually. Now yeah, so in terms of my current progress, this is going to be a spoiler. I think in my previous episode I was at 1106 slots, and currently right now I'm at 1131. I'm not going to show you what I have, obviously, because that will spoil the video, but just know that eventually I'll be creeping up to this number. And I'm currently rank 12 for Ironman in terms of the unique collection log slots, and I think I'm rank 8 for overall collection log slots, which is strange because I figured I would be like similar in rank, but I guess not. But we only count the unique anyway, so I'm ranked 12, which is awesome. Top page for Ironman in the collection log. And so in this ramble, I'm going to go over two general topics, and each general topic is going to have some subtopics. So the first being in-game in OSRS, which is the game we all play and degenerate on. And I'm going to also go over the IRL, so in real life. And I'll do that at the end of the video because I want to go through RS first, as I feel like most of you are there for that. And once the RS section is finished, you can leave if you're not interested for the IRL. It should not be too long, the RS section, but yeah. So let's go over the OSRS. So I have a couple topics here, and we can go over them one by one. And I might be all over the place. I'm not very organized in terms of preparing for this. I think I maybe put 10 minutes to draft up a list of topics so I don't get lost. But let's go over the goals for my account. Oh, so that's just tree seed. So currently I'm doing false line and wyverns. And the reason for that is when I play RS, I like to have 3 different categories. And I tried to explain that to a couple people in the Discord that I'm in, which is for the Ironman CC called 07 Iron. The requirement to join the CC, by the way, is just to have any Ironman helmet. Even GIMP is fine. UIM, Hardcore, regular Ironman. Even the unofficial GIMPs, we still accept them. Currently, we have no problem with that. As long as you have an Ironman helm, we're happy. And there's no requirements in terms of like stats. You can be level 3 Ironman and you're welcome to join. So yeah. But yeah, so essentially I have like 3 different categories when I grind in this game. I have one that's like a low intensity AFK one. I have a med intensity grind, and I also have a high intensity grind, and I hop around between them depending on what I'm doing or how I'm feeling. So if, for example, I get home and I'm feeling really tired and lazy, I might do the low intensity one, which for me is False Line Wyverns right now. If I'm like more in a mood of maybe listening to music and focus up a little more, I can do Gardens of the Rift or maybe Temperos, or I can do Slayer. You know, there's like some mid intensity stuff I can do. And if I really want to do some high intensity content, currently my goal is ToA in terms of that, and I'll go over that in a bit. Now, other than that, in terms of like more long term, of course collection log, and I'll go over that later on, but I would like to get green log in the, I'm not going to open the collection log, but in the raid section of the collection log. So for Chambers, Top, and now ToA, which is the new raid 3. I currently have Top green logged, as most of you know, and I'm going to go over ToA in a bit too. So I would like to keep pushing the collection log and trying to get that number as high as possible. 1200 would be sick to achieve, and I think once I hit that, I'll keep pushing as well. And it's cool now because I'm tracking like oppositely. Now I have 299 slots left for completion, which obviously I should not be tracking like that, but it's still kind of cool to see it that way. But yeah, so let's go straight into ToA. So Tombs of a Masket, which is a new raid that was released a couple weeks ago now. And I'm going to go over my mindset for the raid. So it's very fun raid, honestly. It's not as bad as I thought. It's quite easy too in terms of difficulty, which, I mean, we expected. Jagex did confirm that the difficulty would be in between like Chambers and Tob. However, I feel like if you do the regular mode invocations, it's easier than Chambers. But if you do the expert modes, it kind of gets more complicated, and it's more in the difficulty range of closer to Tob. Which is cool. So you have the choice of going from one to the other. And however, one thing I don't like about ToA is the drop rates not being released. I know that Mod Arcane has a mentality of not releasing drop rates, and I respect that decision of his. However, I don't really agree with it. I mean, the way I'm going to say it might sound mean, but Jagex does have a bad track record in terms of drop rates. Like, for example, if you look at Fasani Nightmare release, the first like 18 hours or 16 hours, there was no drops, no unique drops on the drop table. For some reason, it was voided. So people were killing Fasanis and not getting drops, and people were wondering, like, what the hell? How many have you killed? How many have you killed? I didn't get anything. I didn't get anything. And turns out Jagex just messed up and didn't put the drops on the drop table. They eventually fixed it, thankfully, when they noticed the mistake. But that for me is just like, that's so bad. Like, thankfully, I think back then I only did like 3 or 4 Fasanis, and because I was working on that day and I was busy and all that, and it was pretty cool and all that. So I didn't get that pissed off. But I know some people who killed many Fasanis, like 20 plus Fasanis and 30 plus Fasanis, and I remember Sebe was grinding it nonstop on release, going for rank 1, and he that must have been he must have been pretty mad about that. But it is what it is. It happens. And also another example was for Nex, where they didn't release the drop rates, then they changed the drop rates mid-release, and then they glitched out Nex, where I'm not going to do my hard clue scroll, by the way, I'm so sorry. Then they glitched out the drop rates where only the MVP would get the drop, and certain clans were aware of that, so they would go in mass worlds and spec transfer so they can get MVP and then guarantee the unique if it gets one, which was really crazy because that was insane money per hour for them. And they were basically just like, if you were under geared at doing next, you had 0 chance for a unique, which it's really big mess up. And I think it was in the game for a week until some people were noticing. I remember in Solitary Discord, I was reading through it. I'm not in Solitary anymore, by the way, but I'm still in the Discord. I think it's a great Discord in terms of knowledge, and everyone can pool their knowledge. However, that has died recently, as some of you might know, which is unfortunate because I think I had a lot of respect for Solitary. And people were noticing in like the drop screenshots that only people with big bones were getting uniques, and like I think it was like 21 uniques in a row with only big bones getting the drop, which was strange. And then I noticed too in my CC the same thing, and then the next day it got patched, and I was like, shit, we we could have abused this. Like, but it was still like so essentially for those two reasons, I personally do not trust Jagex in terms of drop rates being implemented in the game. And so if Jagex is able to confirm drop rates, and at least that way the crowdsourcing data can basically like double check Jagex's work and ensure that the drop rates are correct, which is why I think Jagex should release drop rates for bosses. For the first week, okay, you know, you want to keep it secretive, that's fine, but the second week it should be released. And also for the monster examine, I really like the idea of not showing the defensive stats for the first week. I think that's really cool. And then they released it after, which was really awesome. I think that's something they should keep doing in the future. It was nice, you know, doing ToA on the day of release and trying different gear setups and bringing weird stuff. And you know, I'm rapiering Warden, my friends are T-bowing, and then they're slapping, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, I'm gonna start T-bowing. And it was really fun to do so, and I hope they keep doing that in the future. That I agree with, but the drop rates, they should really have them released, because I don't personally trust Jagex in terms of quality assurance, which they've proved in the past. A lot of little bugs here and there, and I understand that the job is not easy in terms of quality assurance, and also I understand that like Jagex employees, they're not paid as well as they should be for the work they do. I think it's very unfortunate that the company underpays them, and the company doesn't invest as much money they should in stuff like better servers, or account security, or support, like Jagex support. I think other companies do a great job on that, and in my opinion, if this game wasn't as good as it is, people would probably quit and play something else if the like behind the scenes it was this poorly done. And that's not necessarily the moderator's fault. Like the mods do an amazing job. I have great respect for them. Even like Mod Arcane for his drop rate decision, I still respect him for it. I think he's a great mod. But I think upper management, in terms of the exec level, that Jagex have to step up, throw extra money on servers, throw extra money on extra employees, which they've been doing on extra employees so far. They've been doing a good job there. But they make so much money in this game, they need to invest it back in the company for the company to survive long term. And I really want this game to survive long term. You know, I want to be playing this game for years to come. Obviously, my playtime is going to shrink over time, but I still would like to keep playing and keep progressing the account. So, yeah, that was a little intense in terms of the ToA mindset. But besides that, one thing I really disliked about ToA was when they they did so many nerfs in one day after the first week. So I do agree that the drop rates should have been scaled better. So firstly, I think in entry mode, you should only be allowed to get the Fang and the Ring. And even then, that's very generous. If you look at Tob in entry mode, you don't get any unique chances. But I think it's fair to give something just because it's cool and it allows lower level players to still make good money. But getting a staff in an entry mode is ridiculous. That should not be the case. And I also didn't like it that when they nerfed ToA after the first week, they did so many nerfs in once. I think if they would have spread it out over like the course of a month, it would have been better received. But they nerfed like the Ambrosia, they nerfed the Adrenaline, which the Ambrosia I agree was OP. That's fair. But the Adrenaline was actually really fun to use, and I really enjoyed using the Adrenaline bot. Thankfully, they reverted that, which is great, because the Adrenaline was so fun, especially with claws. You would claw like 7 times on Baba, which was awesome. And then the Warden P2 change is really the one that pissed me off the most. Like getting a 5 down Warden in a 220 was ridiculous. Thankfully, they reversed that as well, which is a lot better. Also, in terms of ToA, some of the drop rates have been like, I guess, speculated. I wouldn't say they've been confirmed yet, because there's so many different factors that come into play that we're not really able to confirm until Jagex confirms it with actual numbers and functions. But currently it seems like the staff is a 1 in 24 chance of getting from any purple, and the Missouri pieces are 2 out of 24, which means on average you should expect to get 22 purples to complete full Missouri and 24 purples for the staff. Which means the average completion for ToA is actually not that bad. especially if you consider doing expert modes for the completion, because the drop rate for purple is like a 1 in 22 or something. So the completion for ToA is actually not that bad. It's maybe close to 700 expert modes, which is my guesstimate currently. I haven't done any like, I guess, how would you say it? I haven't done any simulations. I've just kind of been guessing it, which is very doable, which means that in theory, you could even do 2,000 150s in vacation ToAs and then get the completion and at the same time get the cape. However, I don't think that's wise to do, because you can go dry on the staff or the Missouri piece, resulting in you having to go beyond 2,000 KC. But I think currently my plan for ToA will be to do around 220s to 230s solos if I'm alone, until I get the Fang, which I don't have the Fang, by the way. That's the only spoiler I'm telling you for ToA. And then once I get the Fang, I'll only be doing 300 solos. And every time I have a team of 2 or more that want to do expert mode runs, I'll join them and do some experts. I think expert mode teams are amazing. If you would like to do expert mode teams with me, PM me on Discord or in game, and I'll definitely join. The only thing is I can't split, because I don't have all the items yet, and I only have around 500 mil on the main, which I'm going to be yeeting some on the bingo, which I'll talk about later. But yeah, so I don't have enough money to afford splits, and I don't want to have, like, if I get a staff and I can't split it, I don't want to feel bad and have to liquidate like some items that I should not be liquidating, or, you know, being in a bad position where I feel like I scammed them. So I'll be doing FFA until I get staff, and once I get the staff, I'll be doing splits. Now, yeah, so that's essentially my mindset for ToA. I think it's great. I think they did a really good job in the end of the day. Even regardless of all the small things that I nitpick on, it's still a really good piece of content, and they deserve credit for it. Now I'm going to move on to the next topic, which is the CM grind, so the challenge mode chambers. So initially I had a goal of getting the 2k cape. However, I stopped at 450 KC at CMs, which I'll just do KC Cox CM. And also, by the way, I might be playing like some ToB in the background. It's not actually live. It's like some clips from when I was high or drunk, and I just recorded a whole session. So it might be a little funny. It might be a little cringe, but whatever. Maybe you'll enjoy it. Now, let me just make sure I'm recording everything correctly. Okay, cool. It's working. Oof, that would have been embarrassing. 18 minutes deep. But yeah, so my plan for CM was to get the 2k cape, and it is still the case. The only thing I'm missing, which I can talk about because I haven't done really much CMs in the videos ever since, is the pet and the capes. The pet is very scary because if you go dry on the pet, you can be doing CMs for like till 4,000 kill count. So hopefully I get the pet along 2,000. But my plan is to get full Missouri, and then once I get full Missouri, I'll be sending some CMs here and there. And at the same time as ToA, whenever I want breaks. I find CMs are very fun. They're nice content. And I will for sure go for a green log there. And that's about it for CMs, honestly, just full Missouri. I think full Missouri for CMs are going to be really cool. so yeah. Now I'm going to go on to the next topic, which is the collection log continuation. So I'm honestly fully addicted to the collection log, as most of you can tell. It's so much fun. I've been really enjoying grinding some of these weird grinds. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, like Tight Farm, I didn't think I would enjoy it, but when I was like halfway through the grind, I was like, damn, this is actually kind of chill. And I got into the rhythm of doing Tight Farm, and I actually started enjoying the content, which is interesting. Who would have thought? Maybe I'm just weird. Who knows? Probably. Yeah, probably I'm weird. So yeah, in terms of like the collection log, like one thing that's really been motivating me for the collection log is the YouTube series. It's been really fun seeing like the progress of my YouTube videos along, and sometimes I also rewatch them. So I'm gonna go over that too in a little bit after in terms of YouTube. So sometimes I rewatch my videos, and it's cool seeing like the drops in my reaction and seeing how the CC reacts as well. It's like basically stored and archived for the future. Maybe in like 10 years I'll be doing something else in real life and not playing this game, and I'll binge watch my videos. Like, that could be really cool. Maybe I'll binge watch this one. So if that's the case, hello, me from the future. It's interesting. Yeah, so I'm gonna go over the YouTube series because I feel like the collection log continuation is really like involved in my YouTube channel. I think honestly, if I didn't make YouTube videos, I don't think I'd be going this hard, nor would I probably playing as much either. Maybe I would have burnt. A lot of my friends have been burning out of the game recently, honestly, which is really sad. Like Rescued, he burnt a couple weeks ago. Very sad. Very big gamer. He's the one that taught me how to do challenge modes and taught me how to do ToA back in the days. So yeah. But in terms of the YouTube series, I'm really loving YouTube. This series has been so much fun. I've been getting so much support from most of you watching the videos. People have been seeing me in game saying hi, and I always say hi back. And it's so much fun to see to rewatch the videos and to talk about the videos. Also, one thing I'm really loving to do, which I spent like 3 hours last night, by the way, doing that, is I finish every video in my series, and I'm sure some of you might have noticed, where I do something really, really weird or really stupid. And I do my outro on that clip of me doing something very weird. Like one of them that was really funny was when I was doing Sears agility, but I would do like half the lap and then I would teleport out and then do the other half of lap and teleport out. So my XP per hour was probably like 6,000 XP per hour. Like it was super horrible because you get all your XP from the final lap, like the final shortcut of the lap. But I was skipping that, so and people in the comments were like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I was laughing so hard. So what I have now is I have like a notepad on my computer called Hi Ideas. So it's like a mixture of hi and ideas. And essentially I just make a list of like some really stupid things I can finish the video with. And I do them. And then I use them as my outros. So like last night I came back from a vacation, by the way. Some of you might not know. I'll go over that in the real life section. I spent like 3 hours just like drafting up the list, doing some weird shit in game. Like I'll give you just one, and you'll probably see it in like a couple months. I was doing Vorcav with like max mage, and I would face tank the fireballs. Like, the Vorcav shoots those fireballs, and it hits like 1/10. So I would bring anglerfish, and whenever Vorcav shot a fireball, I would pre-angler, tank the fireball, and then safe up back to full. Dude, this is so stupid. Oh man, that was actually 26 IQ's idea, so it's kind of fun. But for sure, I'll be finishing all my videos with something cringe. I think I have like 9 of them right now that are ready to be uploaded in terms of the cringe ideas, and it's been really funny to do so. I would like to also maybe start a different series. I'm not sure what I would like to start, but I would like to do something maybe more casual where like I know I do some like drunk raids sometimes or some high raids, but I think I want to cut down on alcohol, which I'll talk later too. Let me just make a note here. So yeah, I would like to maybe do a series where like I pot some like high content or something, and we just record the clips and see if it's funny. If it's funny, I make a YouTube video out of it. If it's not funny, then I don't upload it. But yeah, if that's something you'd like to see, just let me know. And at the same time, if you have any other ideas, please let me know as well. Like, I've been making some videos for some simple guides. Like, for example, when I got the Dragon Full Helm, I did a guide on the Fossil Island Wyvern notes. No, what the hell am I saying? No, I did a guide on the Mithril Dragon notes, like the My Notes section. And I did like the efficient route of doing it. So you do like Mithril Dragons till you get the Full Helm. Then you rummage the skeletons, and I showed the trick to do it so you can like essentially one-tick them and hop worlds. And I think that guy got quite a lot of views, and I mean most people knew the method in the collection log Discord, but it wasn't really mainstreamed, and there's not many guides on collection log either, because it's kind of like I've been doing collection log for the past like year and a half maybe, but not a lot of people doing collection log back then, and it's only recently with like Bodhi doing his series, which is amazing series, by the way. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. But with Bodhi starting his collection log series, it's really brought a lot of attention to the collection log. Like implink prices have gone up. That's what people were telling me in the collection log Discord, and people have been really loving it. Like, I remember back in the day I would go to aerial fishing and it was empty, and now I see people in worlds and I'm like, what the hell, there's people here now. This is so weird. which is really cool. So it shows that like I guess I was like doing collection log before it was mainstream, and now that I'm like so ahead, I'm seeing people starting collection logging and progressing really fast. I'm like, oh my god, they're catching up to me. Which because I guess I don't play enough to be competitive in the collection log scene maybe. But I guess I lost aggro here. So yeah, also I would like to keep pushing the collection log slots. I think I mentioned it before. I would like to get to 1200 That's my current like plan. And then once I get to 1200, obviously I'll keep going. But more importantly, I'd like to maintain top page Ironman. So currently I'm ranked 12, and I would like to make sure I always maintain at least top 25. Which top 25 would be really awesome to maintain. I know, like, back in the days, I remember the Irons would compete for top page overall XP, and now I feel like I'm actually in the top page, which is really crazy because I never thought I would reach top page. Like, back when I made my Iron, I thought I would just play casually, burn out, and play like League of Legends or something, but I guess I got addicted, and here I am with 520 days played, which is 12,500 hours. Oof, I should probably hide that, but yeah, I guess I'm having fun, so that's all that counts. Now, I think I talked about the 4 months of banked content, but what's really cool about that too, the fact that I have like a lot of clips that are banked up. Like, I think right now I'm around 6 or 7 weeks behind on my videos. What's cool about that is I can like pre-upload videos, and YouTube is honestly so amazing. Like, there's a feature where you can schedule a video, and the video is going to be uploaded at a specific day and time in the future. So when I went on vacation, what I did is I uploaded a bunch of videos, and then I just left on vacation, and the videos would be uploading itself every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. my time. And there's like nothing for me to do besides just, I don't even have to respond, I don't have to check YouTube. Like, I remember I didn't even know that I uploaded the video, and then I see on Discord, like, Help Me RNG, he's someone in the CC, he like tags me, he's like, new Long Gym Ride video, and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot about that. It was uploaded. So yeah, that's really cool that I can pre-upload them. Like, I think when I started my vacation, I uploaded like 4 videos in the span of 2 days, and they take quite a bit of time, by the way, to upload. I can talk about that too. Like, they take me around maybe 2 hours if you like give me coffee and like good music, and 3 hours if I'm like doing it correctly, you know, taking my time and doing it well. So 3 hours per video. And usually when I upload these videos, I like do Fossil Line Wyverns or something, so it's not like I'm not playing either. I'm just not being efficient, of course, which I'm never really efficient, as most of you know anyways, so it doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, you can like schedule videos, which is awesome, and it's really fun. So I think that's it for YouTube. I'm going to move on to the last category for OSRS, which is the bingo that's coming up soon. So you can probably tell if you were watching the Fossil Island clips, people are talking about the bingo in the CC. So we have a bingo that starts in 4 hours for the draft. So I'm going to link in the description our Discord for DL7 Iron. Even if you're a normie, or if you're not an Iron, or if you're not interested, you can still watch, like, and track the bingo and look at the bingo sheet and all that, and see how it goes. Maybe in the future, if you're interested, you can join. If you don't have an Ironman, make an Ironman and join. it's really fun. Ironman is a great game mode, but not for everyone. But it's a great game mode. And so yeah, my plan is actually to. I made a video, I think it was episode 14 of the Collection Log Degen series, where the whole episode was just bingo. And I'll do that again for this one for sure. However, that episode's going to be released in like 2.5 months probably. So what I'll do instead is I'm going to record the entire draft, which should be a really big draft because we have 108 signups, which is 108 signups, which is crazy. And I'll need to talk about that later, but I'm going to upload the entire draft on YouTube, and you can watch it. It's really cool, like the way the draft works, and the draft sheet, it's all really organized, and then the captains, they pick, like if you're picking for a sports team, they pick like, I want him, and then they go one at a time and pick, and there's a lot of strategy involved with captaining. It's honestly, if you've never captained before, I wouldn't say it's hard, like you can do minimum work and still get away with it. But you need to really know the players in the CC. You need to know, like, okay, this guy, he doesn't use Discord much, but he's a grinder. Some of the people are like that in the CC. And then there's other people where they're not really efficient. They just play for fun. They drink beers. But on Discord, they're freaking amazing. They're so much fun. They crack jokes. They have fun. They laugh. And like I'm saying that, I'm thinking about Raul. Like, so funny. Like, if you're on Raul's team on the bingo, you're having a good time. Join the Discord. That's all I gotta say. You're having a good time. And it's so much fun being in Discord with like 6, 7, 8 guys and just memeing, talking shit, laughing. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. just laughing and having fun. Damn it, that phone call just like distracted me, dude. So where was I? Yeah, so it's so much fun when like everyone's on Discord together talking and going over the bingo, and then especially with the new CC, which Jagex has done a really good job with the clan system. It's so great seeing the broadcast and being all excited when you see someone in your team pull the item, or even worse when it's someone in the opposite team that pulls like a drop that's on the board, and you're just like, shit, which team is that? Please don't say Team Purple. Please don't say Team Purple. And then you check it like, ah, shit, it's Team Purple. And it's loads of fun. If you've never played a bingo before, you need to. Trust me, it's like, man, it's such a different mindset of playing the game normally. Like, you see a bingo tile that's really shitty. You're like, oh, do I really want to do Grotesque Guardians? But you do it anyways because you know your team needs the whatever granite hammers or whatever the item is. So you grind it out and you progress your account at the same time. And there's so many different tiles to choose from. And then you also strategize with your team. Like, okay, we should probably focus on these 2 tiles to get the point. Or they might say, you know what, Lone, you have a T-bow, go do Mole or go do this. And we'll all focus on this other stuff because you don't have T-bows. Perfect. We'll split it up that way. Really, really fun to strategize. One of the events we had in the past, which is called the Race, is very, very strategy focused and very like team, like focusing on certain tiles and progressing through the board in like a flow chart pattern. That is really awesome too. But yeah, so in terms of bingo, it starts in 4 hours. Join the Discord if you want to keep up with it. Make sure you join the CC in the future if you're interested in joining these bingos. And yeah, in terms of the bingo, we have 4 teams currently. Initially, it was supposed to be 3, and then like I aimed for like 70 signups, and then people just kept signing up like nonstop, and I was like, what the fuck's happening? And I was like, and then I spoke to like the other staff members in the CC, and I'm like, dude, I need 2 more captains. Like, we need 4 teams. Like, this is ridiculous. And then 2 people stepped up, Heffy and JHB. So now we have 4 teams and 108 signups, which is going to be teams of 27. The board is very hard too in this bingo. I think the board could get completed, but it'll take some good luck, like some good RNG on the team that completes the board. So it's definitely possible. Now, in terms of the sign-up count, 108 is crazy. I think our previous record was like 76. So we just blasted that record by like 30%, which is awesome. Really looking forward to see how it turns out. I know in like Solitary in their bingos, they would have like maybe 70, 80 signups. So we surpassed Solitary. And in Olympus, they would maybe have 50 to 60 signups. So we surpassed Olympus too in terms of signup count, which is really, really nuts. We plan to take like a picture and all that with everyone in there during the draft. So make sure you check my YouTube channel if you want to see the draft. Very interesting. Now, that's about it for the RS section. So I guess I can move on to in real life. So I only have a few topics for that, by the way, so it should not take too long. But essentially, I changed jobs. So before I have to be very careful about how I speak, by the way. I don't want to obviously dox anything important or any confidential information. But I used to work in an aerospace firm where we would manufacture and assemble aircraft engines for commercial and private jets. Now, the issue about that job was it was a contractual position, so I would get salary and no benefits whatsoever. So I would just get paid essentially, which was okay. Like, I didn't really mind the no benefits. Like, obviously it's scary if you get like sick or if you get hurt or if you can't work. But in terms of me I'm 25, like being younger, no kids. Wasn't too worried about that. If something bad happened, I would reevaluate and find a different option. I don't know, but it wasn't as worrisome as it should have been. But I realized that long term, it's not very sustainable for me. I needed something more consistent with benefits. That way, it's more relaxing and I don't have to stress as much. And also, there was like an incident a couple months ago where there was like a posting internally, and I essentially got like told to fuck off. I'm exaggerating, but essentially that's what happened. So I realized, you know what, I don't want to work for this company anymore. Like, I'm already taking the negative, or I guess like the hit of being contractual. I'm not going to take more bullshit. So I told myself, I don't want to work here anymore. I'm going to start applying elsewhere. And I applied to another company where they manufactured the airplanes. And turns out they manufactured the airplanes of the engines that we made in the company I used to work for. So I applied there, and there was a couple jobs, and I applied to them. And then I get a phone call, and I'm like, oh, who the hell is this number? So I answer, and they're like, hello, is this Lone Gym Rat? And I'm like, yes. It's like, is it true? I see here that you applied for this position at this company. Is that correct? I said, yeah, that's correct. I actually applied like a couple days ago. He said, oh, cool. So I'm reviewing your resume. It looks really good. Are you free for an interview tomorrow? I'm like, yes, of course, I'm free. So he schedules everything, and then I show up at the interview. And he's like, so the main reason why we're having an interview with you is because the job entails doing like some investigations on non-conformances for airplanes internally within the company. So if, for example, there's they're building a plane and then they damage something severely, and the damage is severe where it could cause a flight concern, like in the field, where imagine if you damage the wing, and the wing could fracture early, well then that could cause, this is an example by the way, that could cause like a concern that the wing might be affected and might cause a crash in the future. So that's considered like a higher risk non-conformance. Then that's something that I would be investigating. And I was already doing that in the other job, but I was like it was like a subsection of my other job because I had other tasks as well. And I actually closed 2 severe issues on engines that was submitted to the customer and also presented to them. So I presented it to the customer directly, and they went over all the issues and all that. I talked about everything. And then the customer took that information, presented it to their internal board. And the guy that did the interview was part of that internal board, and he saw my name on the presentation. He's like, wait, I know this guy. This guy's from, he applied. He's like, what the hell? So so that's why he hosted the interview, which is really crazy. So I guess that shows that if you're doing work, always focus up, do a good job, because you never know where it can go. And then we're in the interview, we're talking on that, and he's like, this is really good, but I need we can't just hire you like that. I would like to do a second interview. I'm like, sure. He's like, this is going to be a technical interview. Are you okay with that? I'm like, of course, I'm okay with that. So he's like, okay, so I'll book it for whatever this date. So I'm like, perfect. So I show up at the interview, and it's him, which would have been my manager if I got the job, or is my manager actually, and his manager, which is like the higher up at the company that does all investigations. And then we do a technical interview. They ask a bunch of questions, and I was cracking so many jokes, dude. Like, it was not okay. Like, I'll give you one example. Like, should I give you the example? I don't think I should. No, I won't. But essentially, like, we were talking about like some, because obviously like everything is like proprietary information. So he was asking me like examples of stuff I did, and then I was talking, and I was like, I don't think I can go beyond what I just said, because like it affects your engines. Like, I can't. Yeah, this is as far as I can go. And he's like, yeah, I understand. I'm like, okay. And I felt so bad. I was like, I wish I could talk more, but I can't. So yeah, we did the technical interview with those 2 guys, and I was cracking jokes. It was so much fun. Interviews are fun. They're really enjoyable. So after the interview, I go back to work, and I'm like, holy shit, that was crazy. Like, I just nailed that. That was not even fair. And the next day I get a call. He's like, yeah, I talked to the rest of the team, and honestly, there's no question you got the job. We're just gonna cancel other interviews. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like telling myself, like, holy shit, I'm like, it's such a crazy mentality too. Like, so yeah, we went through all the paperwork and all that, and then once they gave me the contract, I handed my 2-week notice to my my ex-manager, I guess you can say. And yeah, it was honestly, like, handing the 2-week notice was satisfying, but leaving on the last day was kind of sad. Like, I felt really sad that it's like everything you've learned is no longer going to be useful for the rest of my life, because it's like specific to the company itself. And since I'm changing companies, a lot of it is going to be lost. So there's a lot of like knowledge that I have that is essentially lost, which is really sad. But I guess that's how the cookie crumbles. If they wanted to keep me, they could have put extra effort in trying to keep me. But I mean, I guess they couldn't do much. So it's okay. It is what it is. Like you move on, and I think the decision to change companies is a risk, of course, because for all I know, the job could be harder, could be more stressful, could be less fun. But it's a risk I'm willing to take. And in life, you have to take risks. Sometimes they don't work out. Sometimes they work out really well. And you just have to pull the trigger and send it. So I start on Monday, by the way. So in 3 days. So right after bingo. And Monday's going to be my first day. I'm really excited to see. The company's really awesome. It's a high-end company. I'm not going to say the name, of course. And yeah, I'm really excited to work for them. It's a great company. I think there's a lot of potential for me to move around, which the older company did not have, because it was a big company, but it was very secluded to a small factory that would make the engines, and we were really overworked because we were understaffed. We had support from internationally and internally as well from like other plants that were doing R&D and so on, but like our workload was so intense. Like I was doing so much, and sometimes I was even doing things and I was like, why the hell am I doing this? Like I'm sitting in a meeting, we're talking, and then this lady like that's like super high up in engineering, she's like, so are there engines in the field that perfected? And then no one answers, and I'm like, of course there are, like these following engines are affected. And then no one's like, oh. I'm like, what the hell? Why am I telling you this? Like, you should know. Or I'm in another meeting and we're like talking about an issue on a part, and like we had to remove all parts from engines, and we remove and replace them because they were they had a risk. Even though the risk was small, it was not worth the risk, so we had to swap them. And then I asked, I'm in a meeting, I'm like, there's like 40 people in the meeting, and I'm just there like, guys, like, do we have more parts coming in? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, because according to what I see here on my sheet, we're gonna be line stop next week. What's the plan for that? And everyone's just like, what? I'm like, dude, bro, we're making $10 million engines. Like, wake up, guys. But yeah, sorry, that was a weird flex, but yeah. So yeah, I guess now I changed jobs, so that's the gist of it. But hopefully the work is it seems to be more like I guess you can say targeted or like focused on a specific aspect of the investigations. So I don't think I'll be dealing as much with like suppliers, and actually I won't be dealing with suppliers or customers, but I'll be dealing a lot internally, which is really cool. Improve the process, learn about the process of manufacturing airplanes, which is something I've been loving as a kid, since I was a kid. And yeah, on top of that, like, you know, I get the benefits are amazing. I get an extra 2 weeks vacation, I get sick days, I get health insurance, I get pension plan, I get bonuses. Like, just no-brainer decision to switch over. Yeah, and also there's like I was mentioned earlier, there's so many more opportunities in this company. There, like, all the other departments are right next to me, so I can meet people that could be my future manager, and if I ever change positions. And I think short term it might be scary, but 1 year down the line, I think I'll be looking back and thinking I made a great choice and a great decision. And hopefully that is the case. If it's not the case, then it is what it is. You take risks in life. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose. So yeah. So hopefully you get a ramble on that in maybe a couple months. Now, in terms of the vacation, I went on a vacation to Mexico for 7 days. So between like the 2 week notice and when I finished the job and starting the other one, I had 2 weeks off. So I told myself, oh, you know what, whatever, let's go to Mexico for fun. And first day I got there, you know, went to take some sun, massive sunburn. Like for like reference, I used to work at a summer camp when I was younger, and I'm not gonna tell you my summer camp name because then you're gonna bully me. But I used to work at a summer camp when I was younger, and like the way it would always work for me each summer is the first like day I would get a big sunburn. It would take me a couple of days to recover, and then afterwards I would be completely immune from the sun. I would never put sunscreen, just everything perfect. I would get a nice tan.
But since I don't really go outside as much because my work is indoors, and when I have free time, I just play video games. So I'm not that tanned. So I got a massive sunburn. It healed now, and I have a nice little tan now, which is kind of nice. The sunburn was rough, by the way. Like I think I didn't sleep for one night because it was I had like something called Hell's Itch, which is when your sunburn starts itching, and the itch is so bad that they call it Hell's Itch. Honestly, it wasn't that it was painful. It was just like it was uncomfortable, you know, like you couldn't sleep, and you can't itch it because it makes it worse. So you're like, ugh, it wasn't fun. But yeah, and also the food in Mexico. Like I've been to Cuba twice in the past like 6 years. I don't travel much. I should travel more, and I plan to. But with school, it's a little harder. But now that I'm not in school, I should be traveling more. But yeah, I gained a total of 10 pounds in the past week, which is fucking crazy. Like, to be fair, you go down south, it's all inclusive, so you can eat and drink whatever you want. So obviously you're gonna eat a lot, and on top of that, the food's good. So like, there's no question, you just eat, and then the booze is just like, of course you drink. Like tequila shots are like they're free. You just take them. You gotta get your money's worth. So yeah, I gained 10 pounds. So now I think I'm gonna have to cut back and lose that 10 pounds. Hopefully I should lose it relatively quickly. But I like to go back to the gym more seriously. Like I already go to the gym kind of semi-consistently. And that's my next topic. Oh, sorry. That's my next topic too. Like I go to the gym 4 times a week. And that's just to like maintain. But I like to maybe push a little more. Maybe go for 5 times a week. And push my nutrition a little further. Like currently all I do is I meal prep my lunches for work days. So on the work weeks. But I like to maybe meal prep a little more. Maybe meal prep some suppers. Meal prep... breakfast is not really worth meal prepping because you can just eat oats and a protein shake. But maybe I can meal prep some breakfast too and cut down on calories. One thing I would like to do also is cut down on alcohol. I think alcohol is like... okay, so like for reference, like I do like drinking. I like beer. Beer is my favorite drink, by the way. And it's beer is great. Like I love beer, but it has so many downsides in terms of your health. Like it's empty calories, so you gain weight. It also screws up your liver. You also get drunk, is fun, but the next day you have a hangover, which is not fun. So it's not really. I don't feel like it's that worth it. Maybe I'll have a beer here and there. You know, like I go out for like a restaurant with friends. I'll have a beer, sure, but I don't think I'm gonna get drunk anymore. Let's see how long that lasts. Probably it's gonna last me a couple weeks. Maybe it'll last me till tonight with the bingo. But I would like to cut off alcohol. However, for edibles, I find it's like a different story because they're like the only downside is the munchies, where you kind of get hungry and you eat a bunch of snacks. Now you can like kind of be smart about it and eat like popcorn, or eat like something that's relatively healthier instead of eating chips and candies. But I think it's nice because it's kind of like my cheat day once a week. So currently every Saturday night I do it, and I buy it from. It's actually really strange too. I can talk about that. It's interesting. So I live in Quebec in Canada. It's the French province. Most of you might know. And Quebec is very weird with laws in terms of the province. They're always different from Canada. It's like they really hate Canada and they always try to do everything differently to piss off Canada. And so buying it in Quebec is really annoying and difficult. But what you can do, which is legal, which is really strange, is I can buy it from Ontario, which is a province next to us, and have it shipped to my house. No issues. And it's so weird, like, and it's cheaper in Ontario too. So that's what I do. I buy it from Ontario and I have it shipped to my house. And they're kind of expensive, honestly, compared to like the black market. Like I'm thinking about 6 years ago when I was buying it from the black market. Now I'm putting black markets in quotations. Like it's not like I was going to the back of a street. Like it was friends that would sell it to me. Probably they did that, but like there was one that I was buying from a friend, and she was selling it for, I think it was 5 milligrams for like $2 each, or 10 milligrams for $2 each. So $20 for 10 of 10 milligrams, and they were really good, but they were not consistent. Like you eat one and you would get hit hard, and then you would eat another one the next day, and like it was almost like nothing. And the reason for that is because they're obviously probably made in like someone's basement, or someone makes it in their kitchen or whatever. But the ones you buy from the store, it's like an actual company, and they actually make edibles as a company, and you know what you buy. Like the quantity's there. It's written. They probably have the portions perfectly. I'm assuming everything's perfect. And honestly, from what I've had a lot of them in the past like 3 years, and every single one's been very consistent, no issues. I had one bad trip once, and that was my fault. Like I had like I was like getting like lost in my thoughts, and I was able to recover. And you have to find out for yourself. Like the trick is, like for me personally, my trick is that if I start like not feeling okay, I just close everything I'm doing, and I watch South Park. That's my secret. And the reason for that is because ever since I was like 10 years old, I was watching South Park, and it's like my favorite show of all time. So that's what I do. And when I get in that state, it's only happened to me like once or twice, so it's not that bad. But yeah, lastly, I'd like to also talk about in terms of the gym. So I bought some creatine recently. So I used to take creatine when I was in end of high school, but that's when I was like really into fitness, and that's actually where my name is from, because that's when I created my account around that time. So that's why I'm Lone Gym Rat. I'm not actually a gym rat, by the way. I just kind of like the gym, but I'm not like the stereotypical gym rat, if that's what you're asking. Probably most of you might know, the people that know me from the Discord. But yeah, and I used to take creatine, and I used to be really fit back then. And I found like creatine, like I think like in terms of bodybuilding, like what helps the most is protein shakes, because it helps you supplement your protein if you're not able to reach it correctly with good foods. Like not everyone wants to eat chicken all the time, so having a protein shake is like a remedy to help balance out your macros. But BCAAs is something I used to take, but I don't think they're that worth it, because you get BCAAs in your protein shakes anyways. And like, I mean, only reason why I like that is because it tastes good. But at that point, it's like, what? Like, it's expensive. You're paying like $2 for a scoop of BCAAs just because it tastes good. Like, what the hell? That's not really worth it. So I stopped taking BCAAs, and honestly, I didn't really see a big difference. Like, I just drink water, like plain water now. But I think creatine is something that really helped out a lot in terms of my progression. So I'm gonna wait a couple weeks though, and then I'm gonna start a creatine load cycle for 2 months and see how I feel about that. If I don't see any progress, I won't do it anymore. But honestly, creatine is pretty cheap, so it might be worth to maintain over time. We'll see how I feel. And also, I used to take pre-workout back in the end of high school as well, but I don't think I'm ever going to take pre-workout again. I find pre-workout is just like, I mean, it's good. It helps. Don't get me wrong. And a lot of my friends, they take pre-workout and they need it for working out, but that's the problem. You need it. You go to the gym, no pre-workout, you can't work out. It's like it's essentially like an addiction. Straight up, that's what it is. It's an addiction. You're addicted to pre-workout. And I personally didn't like the fact that I would have pre-workout, and like the next morning I would go to school and I would have a coffee, and it was like nothing. It's like I was drinking water. And I had a second coffee, it was like nothing. I was like, damn, I'm like completely immune to caffeine, so this is not worth it anymore. So I stopped doing pre-workout. And honestly, like, I know one of my friends, he does pre-workout, but he only does it on occasions. Like imagine he'll have like a leg day where he's not feeling too well. You're like, bam, pre-workout, do his leg day. But then he won't take pre-workout for the rest of the week for the other workouts. And I think that's really good balance. If you're willing to do that, I think that's a good idea. But for me personally, taking pre-workout for every workout is not ideal. Some people might disagree with my take, and that's fair. Like, if you take pre-workout and it helps you out, do it. Like, hell yeah, good for you, man. Whatever works for you, because everyone's different. You can't use a blanket statement for everyone. But I can speak on my behalf. For me, not ideal. And yeah. So yeah, that's all I have on this list. By the way, that's crazy. 54-minute ramble. Wow. I think that's a solid record for a solo ramble. And I think I talked almost nonstop, except for a couple pauses when I got the phone call. But yeah. So on that note, I'm gonna go prep more for the bingo, upload this video, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed the ramble. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If you have any ideas for like a series I can do, comment below. If you like to join the CC, make sure you join it. It'll be in the description. to join the Discord and then join the CC. To join the CC, you just join the clan chat as a guest, which is the green icon in the clan chat, and then you just ask for someone from staff to invite you to the CC, and they're gonna invite you, no problem. There's no requirements, as most of you know, so you just join. And battle staffs. And yeah, I mean, on that note, top page, rank 12 Ironman for collection log right here. And